Hello, guys. It's your girl D here from Scribbly Bits. In case this is your first video, hey, it's nice to meet you. My name is D, like I said before. I am an artist, and this is a video that I've made something like this kind of before where I think I made like an Inktober video, but this is gonna be like a little bit different. This is gonna be like a little series where I like sit down and chat. I don't have a name for this series yet. So if you have any names, please comment down below what I should call this series. I've been brainstorming. I've said like artist chats, Scribbly Corner, Artist Corner. I don't know what to call it, but it's basically gonna be like a podcast style video, basically where I'm just sitting down talking, and I'm also going to be drawing in the background. So if you want to like look at the drawing, you can also look at that, or you can just hear my smooth voice. But yeah, my name's Dee. I am a comic artist and I'm also an illustrator. And this whole channel is about my journey of becoming a full-time artist. And I make vlogs and I want to make more videos like this. All right, so now that we have all of the boring introduction stuff out of the way, let's get into like the real like meat and potatoes of what the video is actually about. I feel like the introductions are always like super long. I'm so sorry about that. So you probably read the title of the video and you saw that we're going to be discussing art block as well as burnout. I feel like in the art community, especially online, we kind of like use those two words interchangeably, and I feel like they have like two different types of like vibes. So, let's actually first differentiate the two. So, I would I would define art block. Oh, by the way, I'm using like my own like definition of art block and burnout. These are based off of my own experience with the two. So, I am not like looking up anything. This is just how I feel these are. You may have a different opinion, and that's completely okay. So, I would define art block as being something that's very temporary. It probably only lasts for like 1 to 2 weeks max. Usually you want to draw, but you don't really have any ideas, and you can really feel like dissatisfied with the way your art looks, or like with the feel of your art, if that makes sense. Like, you ever like get that vibe when you're drawing and you're just like, man, like something isn't working, I don't know, like, this is off, and it's just like it's not hitting the same. And I feel like that's like one of like the warning signs of art block is when you're just like, oh man, this piece is like not hitting, and then like you just like it gets worse and like worse and worse, and you're just there like, oh my gosh, what happened? I can't draw anymore. And your brain is just going through like survival mode at that point. And I know for like me personally, a lot of like when I get burnout, it starts with art block, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to draw anymore, and I start like getting very defeatist, and I'm just being like so mean to myself. So for me, the biggest defining feature of art block is that it is usually something that is very quick. It's not something that's supposed to last for a very long time. And I think when it does last for a very long time, that's when it becomes like full on out burnout, which I can now get into defining what burnout is. It is something that usually lasts longer, and this usually happens to more people who are like in like the actual creative industry, or people who are like full-time creatives, or like people who are art students. They get burnout more often because they're creating more often than people who just do it as a hobby. I've noticed with myself as well as fellow like creatives that do this for like a full-time job, or like students, we like put our like creativity as a version as like our self-worth, which isn't healthy. And I feel like also leads to burnout. Um, a lot of people who have burnout, it lasts for months. I don't think I ever, well, I lied. Because I was going to say, I don't think I ever had burnout, but I definitely do have those times where I don't draw for maybe like months on end. Just recently, I wasn't drawing in all of like October, I think. It was like October, like the beginning of September to October, I like haven't drawn anything. And it wasn't until like November that I realized, oh my gosh, I haven't actually made anything in October. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's wild." And I don't think that it was necessarily burnout. I just think I was just taking a break, which I feel like is very I don't even feel like I know as creatives we need to take breaks and we need to not be making art constantly. And I do very much realize it's easier said than done, especially if you are like a full-time creative. Like if you're like a graphic designer or a illustrator, or even if you make like comics or manga, I know you don't really have that luxury of saying, I'm gonna take a day off today. But I feel like definitely when it comes to like creative jobs, we need to have a work-life balance because it's not healthy to be sitting in a chair bent over at a desk looking at a screen for 15 hours at a time. You need to like get up, go outside, touch some grass. While art block is very temporary, burnout can last for much, much longer. And burnout can lead to losing motivation for your craft, which can lead to you just straight up hating what you create. Now that we have the two differentiated, I can get into like my little like tips and tricks section on how you can get out of art block or how you can work through burnout. Another thing that I wanted to mention, I feel like burnout is a lot more mental. Not saying art block isn't also mental. I think they're both mental blocks. But I feel like um a lot of the tips for burnout are honestly just self-care tips because a lot of people who get burnout, they get burnout because they forget how to do self-care. So let's start off with talking about my tips for art block. So I have written down my first one for art block is to do some studies. Like I said before, one of the reasons why people get art block is because they either feel very dissatisfied with their art or they don't really like the way their art looks, so it makes them like very angry. And I know for me, whenever I get art block, I get very like frustrated with myself. And there is a part where you should just allow yourself to just make ugly stuff. But you should also allow yourself to relearn the fundamentals as well as just experimenting with your art. That's like my second one. I feel like I'm just talking about I feel like I'm talking at like all the points at the same time, but I'm gonna try my best to not like get ahead of myself. But yeah, doing studies definitely helps you with your art block because it will like help you relearn the fundamentals, especially if you do point number two, draw from life. I know a lot of people who are into drawing, they draw like a lot of anime. Don't worry, I'm guilty. As you can see my little Hizoka figure, I am a total anime fan. But I definitely think, especially if you like do like still lives or like what are they like live drawing classes, like if you like actually like leave, like I know I'm basically a pot calling the kettle black at this point because I never leave my dorm. But sometimes you just gotta like get out your comfort zone and go outside and draw. And my third point was to experiment, try different mediums, and even try different art styles. I remember there was like this art challenge online where people were drawing different types of styles, which I thought was just so cool. I never participated, but I actually really want to. And I feel like that would really help with getting out of art block. And then the last point, which I feel like fits with the theme of it being like a mental struggle, is that you just need to allow yourself to not be good. I don't want to say not be good, but like allow yourself to create art that's not perfect. I feel like a lot of reasons why people get art block is because they have this idea in their mind that they need to make something that's perfect. They need to make something that has flawless anatomy, perfect perspective, amazing color theory. When the truth is, you can just make something to just make something, especially if you're a hobbyist. Like, there is no reason for you, like, I don't want to be mean, but you don't have to be good at art to be an artist. Okay, like you could just make art and call yourself an artist. Like, respectfully, you don't have to be good at anything in life. Just do what you like and have fun, especially if no one's paying you. And I just realized that there is a fifth point on here because I have like two separate pages for this Google Doc. And the fifth one, I've preaching to the choir right here. Get off of social media. I feel like whenever I'm online, while it can give you inspiration, it can also make you very, very sad. Especially when you see like those like 12-year-olds that are like amazing at art. I just get so sad, and I will literally say to myself, that's enough social media for today. And now we're going to talk about burnout. So, my first tip on here, I have this in bold, all caps: stop making art. Which I know can be easier said than done, especially if it is like your full-time job. Like, this is like what you do to make money. But if you have burnout, you need to take a break. Okay, I'm going to be Eliza. Take a break. Which leads me to my second point. You need to do something else that's creative. Obviously, if you're a full time creative, you like making things. I like making things, but sometimes you just need like have another creative outlet. I got some really good advice from another like full-time creative person. They said you need to have like one job be like your bread and butter. Like, you gotta get that bread, sis. And then you have like a bunch of like other creative hobbies, and it'll be like the best way to avoid like getting burnout. Or a topic that I do eventually want to make a video on, how to avoid like getting shiny object syndrome, and you just want to like pursue everything at the same time. Um so I thought that was like really good, and like it kind of like helped me a little bit, even though I'm still like in the early days of like my creative career, and I'm still like trying to figure out like what I want to do. Not really what I want to do, more like um what I want to do and how to avoid not burning myself out, if that makes any sense. Um for my third point, I have meeting up with creative friends, or even like your non creative friends. I don't know, but for me, I love forcing all of my friends, especially my friends that aren't creative, to get into art, because I think everyone should get into art, even if you don't want to pursue it as a career. I think art is an amazing thing, and that everyone should be creative. I think it's a part of our human DNA to make things. So I think just being around other people and creating things other people can really like help you get through burnout. It can really help those creative juices uh, come back. And because a big part of burnout is that you like lose motivation, it can also help you like reunite your purpose and finding out like why you first started drawing in the first place. And maybe you first started drawing because you thought it was cool, or you were like in anime. I know for me, I was like a real nerd as a kid, and that's why I started drawing. And now I kind of draw because I want to create things that inspire people. And maybe that could also be your purpose for getting into art, or even in the creative field as well. And for my fourth and final point of the video, you need to understand that you're not a machine. I know we're kind of like in this like weird time where we're kind of like trying to compete with AI, but you are not a robot. You are not a machine. You cannot work 24/7, 7 days a week. You need to take breaks and you need to recharge. Creativity is something that comes and goes. And some days you're going to be more creative than others, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, a lot of being like an independent artist is doing admin, and those are probably just gonna have to be like your admin days. And you just need to learn to be more gracious with yourself and also understand if you're feeling like this path isn't for you, that if you're going down this path, you're going down this path because you enjoy creating. This is something that you love. You know, you don't want to do something that you hate. I mean, not every day is going to be like sunshine and rainbows. That's just life. But you shouldn't wake up every day thinking, man, I just want to die. You should wake up every day being like, I'm grateful that I get to do what I do. And even if today isn't going to be the best day, I know that I'm going to be doing the best that I can possibly do right now in this headspace. So I've talked enough. And I hope you got something from this. I really do. I hope I helped somebody. I'm going to try to make more videos about topics that I think can really help people, as well as other videos of me just sitting down chit chatting about my life. I also still be posting my vlogs. So if you like those, they're not going anywhere. But yeah, if you guys like this video, please comment down below. I would love to have a discussion about how you guys deal with art block and burnout. These were just at least like my ways, or like ways I've seen other artists deal with art block and burnout. But if you have like other ways, I would love to hear them down below in the comment section. If you're new here, if you're not new here, you know that I definitely try my best to respond to everybody. I know I'm not perfect though. So, anyways, if you like this video, please hit that subscribe button. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure you follow me on all social medias. It's at Scribbly Bits on most platforms like Instagram and TikTok. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Live y'all best lives.